There is an established etiquette in how audience members should behave at an opera, and using a mobile phone during a performance is certainly not encouraged. We highlight the challenges of subtly interweaving digital technologies into established cultural forms, in this case a new opera called Losing Her Voice, composed by Elizabeth Kelly. Audience members were encouraged to use their own mobile phones to interact with on-stage projections before, during and after the performance. We chart the trajectories of participation designed into the performance of this work and how these unfolded in practice. Finally, we identify a number of strategies to encourage the adoption of technology. We collaborated with Elizabeth Kelly and a team of production professionals to design, stage and study the premiere public performances of Losing Her Voice. Kelly was keen that Losing Her Voice was experienced as a traditional opera in a traditional venue setting. The opera brings to life the story of early 20th century opera diva Geraldine Farrar, who transitioned from stage to screen and became a Hollywood silent film star. The opera explores her celebrity and the impacts of new technology, specifically those of recorded music and silent films. The opera draws on a variety of archival material such as fan scrapbooks and footage from one of her silent films. We took inspiration from this opera's narrative to develop some design goals. Design audience interaction via a web app running on their own mobile phones. Use of social media style commentary as a mechanism for storytelling and audience interaction. This plays on the idea of Farrar's celebrity by turning the audience at the opera into her fans. Application of archival media projected on stage and displayed on the audience app. And the characters and media transition between screens. Designing audience interaction into an opera raises some challenges around acceptance, integration and meaning making. Kelly and the production team settled on a few key scenes in the opera to integrate social media style audience interaction, so it wasn't a continuous element of the performance. Consequently, we focused on the design of the end-to-end user experience to support audience understanding and engagement with the app, so as to help it integrate into the performance. We turned to Benford et al.'s Trajectories framework that views users' experiences as journeys through space, time, roles and interfaces to drive the design of our user experience. In the paper, we chart how this helped us consider what happens before, during and after a typical opera performance, as well as the extended ecology of interfaces, resources if you like, that audience members might engage with. This, along with our design goals, led us to design the audience app and audience trajectory for a performance of Losing Her Voice. Audience members that pre-booked tickets were sent information encouraging them to come with their phone ready charged. When they arrived at the venue on the night of the performance, ushers and a team of specialist helpers offered information and support to connect to the audience app. Charging stations were also provided. Pre-show and in the interval, the app functions mostly as a digital program guide, displaying the synopsis, cast list and various bits of background information. Audience members can choose a stage name and contribute a selfie photo which is used in one scene in the performance where they are portrayed as fans of Geraldine Farrar. The app also delivers social media style interactive quizzes about Geraldine. The look and function of these is the same as the instances of audience interaction built into the performance itself, so they aim to familiarise, on board if you like, the audience members with the interaction mechanism of the app, so when the time comes in the performance itself, they understand its purpose and how to engage with it. When the performance begins, the app switches to performance mode and gives various prompts, such as an audio message to remind audience members to turn down their phone volume, and transitions between scenes in the opera are greeted with a brief visual synopsis statement. This is to encourage audience members to keep their phones awake and in their hands throughout, so when the key scenes of audience interaction come, they are ready for them. The interval switches back to out of show mode, showing the programme guide and further interactive social media polls about the content of Act 1. In Act 2, audience interacts with social media posts, polls and quizzes synchronised with on-stage projections. The opera ends with Geraldine Farrar reflecting back on her life while listening to a recording of her singing the famous aria from Carmen, which is broadcast out into the auditorium via every audience member's handset. Finally, the app reverts to out-of-show mode and the audience members are encouraged to reflect and complete a post-show questionnaire. We had 256 audience members attend 2 performances of the work. We collected system log files, post-show questionnaires, some interviews with audience members, as well as with the composer, artistic director and digital visual designer. These are charted in the paper. The audience was diverse in age, experience of technology and opera, but they enjoyed the performance and reported that they felt more involved than in other previous performance experiences. More than half of the audience used the app, which was generally felt to enhance the performance, but some found it distracting. Barriers to using the app include a lack of device, apparent incompatibility, a lack of knowledge, confidence or time to set it up before the performance started. Of those who used the app, a significant minority chose not to use it during the performance itself. Although encouraged, they still felt unsure about breaking social norms or did not want to be distracted by it. Contributing selfies was a fun pre-show activity and generally felt to enhance the performance, as were the social media posts and quizzes, with 59% of the app users interacting with them at some point. Our findings speak more to the user experience challenge of subtly interweaving familiar technologies into existing experiences than they do to innovating radically new experiences. But it was a challenging exercise nonetheless, which in turn revealed 4 general insights into how it can be achieved. The first of these is to encourage adoption. We recommend the prioritisation of pre-show and the interval as the key opportunities to get the audience on board. We also note that achieving high levels of participation may remain challenging for multiple reasons, each of which might require its own solution. Our second insight is interweaving app use across multiple timescales. In theatre, app interactions should be simple, direct and responsive, so as to minimise the split of attention with events on stage and place interactions carefully with reference to the moment-by-moment specifics of the performance. Extend interaction beyond the on-stage performance, temporally and spatially, to support onboarding. The third insight is to complement the work as a whole. Style the app consistent with the work and associated marketing materials, and select interface and interaction metaphors that are sympathetic to the work. Create specific links between the on-stage work and the app experience where possible to reinforce continuity. And finally, design for non-essentiality. Agree whether and how the app will be essential to the performance. Beware of the temptation to assume that it must be so and build in fail-safes and redundancies where it is. Plan for an extended period of pre-production and development involving all members of the creative team, and establish long-term collaborations over multiple productions and performances.